Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equity Story. And just in case you didn't know, which I'm sure you do know, because everyone does know, this is just a general share advice and not personal advice, as per this beautiful disclaimer on the screen. Very nice. Wolf, listen. First thing, DSE.
Yes.
By the way, I've got to congratulate you. It's another classic Wolfie call. Now, just having a look, we did call this as a buy on the 19th of January 2023, around here. So obviously getting a little bit excited when the breakout above trend. It was not it was a 3-year growth story, and it is a 3-year growth story for us. But we did put a nice little target price of 29 cents. It's up 45%, Wolfie, which is a good result in about 4 or 5 months. So thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Well done. What's the plan, Sir Wolf? What do you reckon? Are we taking profits? Are we lifting are we happy now to take it to that next target price of maybe 40 cents? What's the go here?
Fork in the road, isn't it? Really. Okay. So again, Dave, this goes back to the pretty much principles of what we do. Are you a short-term trader or are you a long-term investor? And when you've just mentioned to me right at the start, you've put it on as a 3-year growth story. I mean, you keep it for 3 years, wouldn't you? That's the whole point of it, of putting it on as a 3-year growth story and see how much we can get out of it. So far, obviously, we've done very well, 40%, something in 4 or 5 months, which is excellent. But we wanted to see how this goes for 3 years and whether we can make more money out of it. So for the long termers out there, I'd just be removing my stop loss, or at least not worrying too much about it. For the short termers, you're probably going to be bound by the CTM type principle. So for me, are you happy with the profits? Does the chart tell you that you should maybe take a profit? That's what I'd be probably looking at for the short termers.
Okay, so
I haven't given you much of an answer, but
so long termers hold it.
Yep.
Short termers they can take a profit they want to. It's up to them. All right. Thank you very much for that, Wolf. That's excellent advice. Listen, another stock that we traded really well this year, that's hit its target price under takeover offer. NCM gold's sort of looking quite good today. Are we we're close to this takeover with
we are. We're getting closer and closer. I think this is pretty much gonna go through with the sweetened offers by Newmont. So unless someone else comes in, you never know. Last moment somebody else come in. So if that gold is pretty good still, Dave, maybe there's no reason to sell, actually, to be honest. I'm thinking, I'm changing my mind here while I'm talking. I'm thinking, just hold it. Let's see what happens, because the gold's still looking over $2,000. It's looking okay. You never know. There could be another white knight coming through at the last moment. So for me, I don't mind sitting there.
Okay, whichever way. I think people, we did some recommend taking profits around here, but listen, I think
that you've got patience and you've got nothing better to do, that you can probably sit there.
Now, the next one I'd like to talk about is Elders, because it's again, Wolf, it just shows again classically why you don't pick bottoms and why you've got to have stop losses, and this is really disappointing. Now, I love your theory on this about El Nino, and I'm going to ask you to explain to members of Equity Story your theory that things aren't good, and you could argue it either way, but why really sort of longer term you just would not be in the story.
It's the good old weather, Dave, unfortunately. I'm a meteorologist, of course. No, I'm not, but I do read a lot about to see what's going on in Australia and around the regions. And we've had 2 years of wet weather with La Nina, right, coming through, which obviously had the flooding, so they were affected by some weather events out there. But now we're coming into El Nino event, which is the opposite. So they're going to have droughts, heat waves, bushfires. That's what they're talking about. And I think they said now there's a 90% chance. So all the little signs of La Nina, so El Nino is forming. So there's a 90% chance it's going to happen by August this year. So, it is such a difficult space, isn't it? I mean, agri space in Australia is like, you just can't win.
No, you've either got floods or drought.
Exactly.
Wolfie, I was, like I said, I was reading an article, like historically, sort of every 22 years, roughly, we seem to get this El Nino, we get this drought. And I remember back, it was at 20, when I first moved here, I think in 1999, 2000, we had, because I was playing cricket at the time, I remember we had a lot of rain, because a lot of the Saturdays were washed out. And then we had the big drought, and we couldn't remember, we couldn't water our gardens, and it was a real problem, and that seems to be, they call it climate change, but actually it's a pattern that's been going on for the last sort of, as long as we can record it, every 22 years we'll be having these droughts in Australia. So
I think, Dave, I think the bottom line here is that the unpredictability of what's to come for the weather patterns in Australia. And you know what? Sometimes it just feels too difficult, and it is cyclical, like you said. That we've got droughts, we've got wet seasons, and it sometimes can knock a company around a bit. And from their point of view, they've had a really good run. I mean, remember, they did have a very good run for the last 2 years. It's only the last 6, 8, 9 months that's really the bottom pretty much fell out. So now it's on a downward cycle. So you just cannot be in this stock for the moment. There'll come a time where you're going to go, okay, things are improving. We're going to jump back into it. But for we don't have an idea who the CEO is at the moment. We've got downgrades cycle with earnings right now. And of course, dividends are being cut as a result. So, and with the El Nino, you think to yourself, well, where are we heading? I'm not sure. Why be in this?
All right, now, Wolf, we've got one stock out which actually trading at the moment. So it came out with a very strong announcement. They've just come out, big raise at around, I think, 1080.
Yep. 1080.
Now it's holding up really well. So often you say you get good raises and bad raises, and good raises can actually keep on going up. So the shareholders really supporting the story. It looks very, very good. And the price action today, Wolfie, from the initial sell-off is very, very good, I must say. And,
it's so encouraging, isn't it, for a shareholder? You think yourself, it's going to come back to 1080. No, it hasn't. It's actually, it's trading at today's highs almost, isn't it? So at the end of the day, you've got to be very encouraged and say to yourself, if maybe I can pick some of these shares up at 1080 if they're going to be offered them to me.
Well, I think you would. I mean, what it might mean, well, I'm sure what it will mean is that unless there's some sort of announcement that comes out, Wolf, it's going to be fairly sideways, maybe for a few months.
I agree, because it's a big capital raising. But at least from the point of view, you've got a good story here. You've got a lot of cash now in your back pocket, and possibly a story that's got a long-term runway.
Definitely. And I'm just having a look when we did put this on, because we did put it on recently. I was just going to check the stop loss. So stop loss was 990. So yeah, listen, that's still giving us plenty of leeway. Yeah. So we did lower that stop loss, and so the trade's still on. And actually, to be honest with you, in some ways, maybe more exciting than ever, right? Because at
the end of the day, I think you're right. I think it's going to go sideways for a little while, right? Because all that money has to churn through first, and it's going to take a few weeks, I'd say. So, but at least it's encouraging that it's not tanking down to 1080.
Well, we actually had it as a buy. I think people can decide what they want to do, because we had this as a buy under 11. We had to take profits or have a look at 1190.
Yep.
It's actually hit 1184. Yeah.
Can I get profits at the moment, because it's not gonna go shoot the lights out anytime soon.
So okay, I think that's fine, and you can take a profit. There's no problem with that at all. And okay, that's
happy with that.
So I might just change that to right. Okay, no problem. Okay, right. Okay. Okay, let's have a look. All right, Wolfie. Now TYR. It's massive sell-off. It's recently sort of stabilized a little bit.
Well, we need to mention it because it's come up with a little profit upgrade, right? So at the end of the day, we respect profit upgrades a lot, and we've got a little, watch this going with all these upgrade stocks. Does this make the grade? maybe, there's not every upgrade is created equal, unfortunately. So you've got to take it all together with a chart, with the fundamentals and so on. So this is not bad. It's nothing spectacular. It's only just inched up its upgrade in a way. So for me, probably the bottom of the list of the upgrades, but at least it's positive. It's got some positive momentum from the fundamental side of things.
All right, thanks for Wolf. Again, just needs a little bit more to buy.
Definitely.
Now Aristocrat. So I actually put it on the bullish stocks. I like the price action, Wolf. I saw it break out. What is that? 52-week high is even better. How was their announcement?
Yeah, look, they're buying a company called Neo Games for $1 billion in cash, right? So it's for them, what it looks like it's just going to add more complementary stuff that they've already do. So for me, it looks like a pretty positive buy. And overall, I think it's an iLottery business, right? So it is part of the gaming empire they're building here. This is turning into a global behemoth in a gaming lottery pokies type stuff, isn't it? Pretty interesting, isn't it? Strategy, how they're going to go. It could be one of those companies that pretty much decides the gambling around the world.
Right. No, it is a good, and it had a good move up last week. It helped a little bit, but maybe by AGI, which I think had a good announcement on Friday.
Yeah, it did.
Now, Wolfie, we are AV1, last one off the list. Again, another stock just struggling. Obviously, a concept that we like, but just really struggling to hit the revenue and turn itself profitable, right?
Yeah, look, it's the unfortunate case of being small, having a negative cash flows, and trying to grow, and unfortunately, you got to go to the market every so often, right? So it's just a vicious cycle for these smaller companies where they've got to keep raising cash, and dilution causes them to have a lower share price. There's little interest in it. Doesn't matter how you spin the story. And you just don't want to fall into the trap that you've got another 2 years of negative cash flows where they have to maybe go to the market, and it just goes lower and lower. So unfortunate, but absolutely you're right, and we like the concept here, but can they sort of narrow those losses down when it's not as bad? And that's what we hope for here over the next few months.
All right. Listen, on that note, Wolf, there's some news this week, so we've gone through that. Do you want to tell us what news we're waiting for?
All right, so Tuesday we've got RBA meeting minutes. So this could be interesting because, of course, we want to know which direction the RBA is thinking with interest rates, right? Very, very important for Australia. We've got retail sales in the US, very important, of course, to see how the economy is going in the US. So that's Tuesday, and then we go to Saturday. So we've got a fairly easy week this week with announcements. Of course, there's going to be a lot of announcements, but the key ones are Tuesday and Saturday. And Saturday, we've got Fed Chair Powell's speech. And then, of course, every economist in America is hanging on every single word. So let's just hope he doesn't make a fumble of one of the words and everyone crashes down. So all up, I think it's another one of those weeks. Caution, not much inspiring action anywhere. And there's really no conviction really from anywhere. But at least it's good to see NASDAQ doing quite well.
All right, listen, Wolf, thank you for that. Again, some good news today. We're, be able to take some profits on some trending stories, and again, CTM really saving us with elders again.
Yes.
On that note, hasta luego.
See you guys.
See you, Wolfie.